Hi, today's video is going to be about soaking your knitting before blocking it. And before I begin, I want you to see my little kitty cat is in her stroller. You can see her ears looking out. She has her heated blanket going. She's very comfortable there. So you'll see her in the background. That's what the cord is. Her heating blanket is plugged in. It's a snowy day, so my lighting's a little blown out. Okay, I know it's scary to soak your knitting, but it's okay. You can't hurt it. The first thing that you need to do is scrub your sink or whatever you are using to soak. Sometimes I use my tub if it's a really big project, but for this one I'm going to use the sink. So I'm going to be actually, even though it looks clean, I'm going to do it again with some dish soap and a sponge. And you have to actually scrub because you don't want to put your beautiful knitting into an area that isn't clean. So I soap up my sponge. I scrub the whole thing. If I get it nice and clean, even the drain. even if I just did this last night, which I usually do this after dishes anyway, because I put so much time into my knitting, I would take the 5 minutes and do it again. Even do this thing because the water will sit on here and everything. So you want, okay, so. Everything nice and clean. And I'm going to make sure I rinse out all of the Dawn. Dawn it's good for dishes, not really for your hand knits. It's pretty harsh. For hand knits, you want to use a gentle soap. Okay. They make special rinses for knitting, and I do have them. However, this gift is for a man, so I don't want it to smell too feminine. So I'm not going to use the special wool washes that I have. Before I get ahead of myself, I cleaned my sink. Okay, if you wanted to, you don't really need to dry off your sink because we're about to put something wet in it. I'm just so used to drying it off because after I do my dishes, I always polish it. Okay, so before I fill it up, I want to show you what it is I'm putting in here. This is a scarf that I made. I used Barocco Ultra Alpaca Chunky in 5 different colors: dark blue, medium blue, gray, ivory. I take that back, 4 colors. The original pattern called for 5. It's done in a tube. I used jogless knitting, jogless stripes, which you can see they're not perfect, but that's okay because it's a hand knit gift. So I have a nice long scarf going in. Okay, now I need to start filling up my sink. Get a drain in there. Do not use hot water. You will begin to felt your wool. Wool does not want hot water. Room temperature, tepid. Tepid means warm, not hot. You can handle cold, that's fine too. Now, I'm actually going to be putting my knitting into the water. It's going to have a bath. Before I put it in, I'm not going to use Dawn. It's too harsh. Okay, here's a face wash. This is just something I have at home. Well, my husband uses it from the Dollar Shave Club. And it's a face wash, and it smells pretty manly, if you will. It's not too feminine. And it's probably not the most gentle thing, but it's better than Dawn. If you had baby shampoo, that would be ideal, a drop of baby shampoo. And if you don't have a gentle liquid, you could use a shampoo, 1 drop or 2 drops, people, not a big squirt. You could even use bar soap. There's my little piggy. Okay, you could just soap up your... So basically we're giving it a bath in slightly soapy water. Okay, slightly. And actually the wool rinses aren't soap. It's a special thing that you don't have to rinse. That's one of the benefits of doing those special wool washes, is that you don't have to rinse it. Okay, I'm just going to do a tiny bit. In here and If I just do a tiny bit, then I might not have to rinse it too hard. Okay, I have a little bit of suds going. Can you see that? Just a touch. Might need a little bit more because this is a pretty big sink and my scarf is really long. Get a little more suds. You want the water deep enough so that your object will be submerged. Okay, here it goes, the scary part. Okay, you can't hurt the wool. The reason you don't want the soap to be too harsh, in addition to not wanting to have to rinse too hard, is you don't want to wash everything off, all the natural properties. You don't want to strip the wool of all of its woolly, squishy qualities. So as you can see, I'm sort of pushing it under. The way that, this is really interesting way that wool keeps you warm, because you think, how can something with all these holes keep me truly warm? Well, the bumpiness of I can't think of the words. The wool naturally forms little tiny pockets of air. The little tiny pockets of air are one of the reasons it takes a while for it to get wet. Like me, I have pretty bushy hair, and when I just get under the shower, it's not instantly all wet. I have to really work to get all those little pockets of air wet. So now I have enough water that it can submerge. I probably could have put a little bit more cleanser in here, but another good thing about giving your project a bath at the end is that anything, while you were working with it, maybe it dragged on the floor, maybe the oil from your hands, anything that happened to it is going to be nice and fresh and clean. Okay, it's not going to smell like all the cups of coffee you drank while you knitted it. It'll smell like whatever you put in the water. Actually, this is smelling like a wet sheep, because that's what wet wool smells like, a wet sheep. And you think, oh my gosh, don't worry. When the wool dries, that will go away. So I am going to let it soak for a few minutes in my bath. Okay, it's just warm water, not hot, not cold. I'm pushing it down gently. And maybe you can see if I squeeze some bubbles out of it. Let's see if I have bubbles. Little bubbles coming up. And because the wool has lots of pockets of air. And I gently, if you use hot water and you agitate the heck out of it, you are going to felt it. Do not want to felt the wool. That's a whole other process. This is why we don't put it in the washing machine. This is why we don't use heat. Okay, so I'm going to let it soak for a few minutes. I'm going to run downstairs and get a few beach towels and show you what to do when you're done. Okay, I'll let it sit here. I'll let you watch the cat sleeping in her little bed for just a few minutes while I run downstairs. So there's the sweater is in the sink having a bath. And there's my little kitty. There's her ears. Yep, it's a snow day, so she is in her blanket. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm going to get 2, or maybe I'm going to get 4 beach towels. You can use bath towels. I'll be right back. Okay, I got some beach towels, and while it finishes, usually I would let it soak a little bit longer, but for the purpose of the video, I'm going to move right along. So I'm going to clear off the countertop here, and then show you what I do when I take it out. rock collection. Okay, so it's been soaking for, I don't know, a few minutes. This project does not need a lot of reshaping. You would let it soak a long time and get ready to aggressively block it. Means, you know, to shape it into the final shape that you want. And a lot of times when you're doing knitting, certain things like lace definitely need to be blocked. I never blocked anything, and I mean anything, for the first 20 plus years of knitting, and that's no joke. I didn't start knitting until I started knitting lace, and it was a whole new world. Excuse me, I didn't start blocking projects. Okay, but today's about soaking. So now I want to, when it comes out, I don't want this one to stretch out a lot. It's already really long. So when it comes out, you're going to gently squeeze water out of it. Yes, it's really wet. I'm not letting it hang too much and pull, sort of keeping it in a bunch. Oh, baby. I'm going to drain the sink. Still really, really wet. Okay. What I'm not doing is letting it pull. What, honey? Oh, she's crying at me. You're getting sleepy, go down for her nap. Okay, honey, hold on. Mommy's almost done. Squeeze out as much water gently as you can. Don't agitate it too much. It's really heavy. As you can see, it's still full of water. Okay, just like it holds air pockets, it holds water pockets. One of the wonderful properties of the natural fiber is how it keeps you warm. Okay, now I have this really heavy, really wet scarf that I do not want to wring and twist up and hurt too much. So I'm going to take a beach towel, lay it out. I usually do this on the floor, but I'll show you. Lay the beach towel out. Okay, take my scarf. Don't stretch anything. I really want to, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to lay it out. Since the scarf is really long, I'm going to put it in a U shape because it's longer than the towel. Spread it out. I know this is chock full of water, and I know that this towel is a little bit thin, so I'm going to go ahead and get another towel, put it right on top. I think I can even leave this one folded. Okay. Now, I'm going to just roll it up. Oh, there goes the cat, which means I can unplug the blanket. Okay. Just roll it up gently. Okay, the pink towel's already all wet. Just push on it and squeeze on it. You're gently squeezing. Okay, honey. The water out. Turn it over. And kind of gently do some stuff like this with it too. Sometimes I put it on the floor and stand on it, which I might do because then you can get the most, and I can just step on it, stand on it kind of gently. Okay, and then flip it. I'll do it again. I'm gently stepping on it. I know, honey. Hold on. Okay. Now, let's see what it looks like. Towels are pretty damp. Okay. It's better. It's a lot lighter than it was. It's still pretty wet. I want it to dry in one day because I'm giving it as a gift the day after tomorrow. So I'm going to take another towel and do it again. A nice dry one. The second half of this is laying it out properly to dry. I have blocking mats and blocking pins where you can pin it and measure it and get everything perfect. I'm not sure I'm going to need to do that with this. I might though, to have it just right. Okay, so even if you just have one towel, you can just fold over what you have and then begin to roll. Okay, put pressure on it. You can spend more time doing this. I'm doing it fairly quickly so that the video doesn't last for half an hour. And also it is a scarf, not a whole sweater or blanket. Okay, and I'm not going to twist it because I don't want to twist up my knitting. Just gently, I guess pounding doesn't seem gently, but I'm not twisting it out of shape. Okay, this towel did get damp, so I did get some more water out of it. It's still wet. It still smells like a sheep. Okay, but it is done. It's had its bath. And I know that the wool will be a little bit softer now that I've washed it. So now what I can do is, since I'm not going to block it officially on my blocking mats, I might as well finish. What I'm going to do here, another dry, nice cotton. Okay. I am going to come move this later and reshape it and look at it. And if I decide later that it's too wonky and out of shape, then I will get my blocking mats out from the attic. I think that's where they are. I've been rearranging all my stuff and put it on the blocking mats. I think because it's a scarf, it's going to be okay. So I'm laying it out perfectly, exactly how I want it to dry. The thing with tubes is that they could get a little out of shape if they get stretched too long. So I want to make sure my tube dries nicely. This is going to look great. Okay. So I have bathed and laid out my scarf. It's still wet. It'll probably take overnight to dry. What I could do is put a fan on it. I will come and check it later. Don't leave it on something damp too long. You don't want it to get musty or anything. I'm just doing this for now. I'll come back and check on it later. So there's my scarf, and the kitty still cries. Okay, honey, I'll give you your snack now. Thank you for watching, and good luck with soaking your knitting. Don't be afraid, just do it.